Last year, we worked on this pub that had to open a week before Christmas. We had to design and manufacture 2 large walnut pivot doors. The problem was we had only 7 weeks left to do the job, and there were 3 other elevations of joinery we had to juggle. Luckily, we've had past experience with pivot doors and lots of experience with complex joinery, so we were up for the challenge. In this video, we're going to walk through our exact solution, including a super cool detail that's rarely seen. Plus, we'll give you a PDF resource so that you can implement these details on your next project. Okay, so let's get started by looking deeper into the problem. So you can see here, this was the architect's render on the design intent. We identified 4 key issues. One was that these doors needed to be able to swing both ways, so both inwards and outwards, because they would need to have the doors open and close for different use cases. Secondly, the doors need to be strong and hold up to commercial use. Keep in mind, this is in a busy pub, and these doors are going to be used all the time to go in and out of this bar space. Thirdly, we need to maintain a somewhat discreet look. The intent here is for these to be sort of like secret doors. I mean, they're not secret doors, but they need to look discreet, and we need to have tight door gaps throughout the design. And finally, we only had about 7 weeks to design, manufacture, and get these doors on site. So that was the framework we were working within. Now, this is how we started thinking about the problem. First, we thought, okay, could we do a rebated door jamb? We would have a matching rebate on the door, or maybe just a square door that sits in the rebate. That would let less light pass through this gap because of the rebate. And we could do a nice thick door. We could have steel frames in there so that it would be really strong. But the problem with this is the door would only be able to swing in this one direction. If it swung in the other direction, it would foul on this rebate here. So then we moved to the second idea. What if we did a thinner door? Because a thinner door lets you have a tighter gap to the door jamb. That would mean the door would look more discreet. And because there's no rebate in the door or the jamb, it could swing in both directions. But the problem here is, and this is very critical, is that we wouldn't be able to build a door this thin that was strong enough, especially because this design had rebates and trims sticking forward. Not rebates, they had trims sticking proud of the face of the door. Which led us to our third thought. We thought, okay, why don't we just have a square jamb with a really thick door, which meant that the door will be strong enough and it could swing in both directions. You can see from the hatching here. But then the problem is you have this really massive door gap, and straight away you'd pick up that this was a door or there was something weird going on here. And then we also thought, as part of this solution, well, what if we shifted the pivot point here, because that would change the geometry of the swing and it would allow a slightly tighter gap. The problem is it just wouldn't be enough, because you need to move it really across to get this gap tighter. And then that would make the opening into the bar area much smaller. Again, it's a commercial space, so it has to be functional. So if these 3 ideas initially didn't work, then where did we land? At the heart of the solution is this idea of a coved door jamb, where we hollow out the negative space in the door jamb, and that achieves 3 things. 1, we can still do our thick door, whether the door jamb is square or coved, that doesn't impact that. We don't need a rebate in the door jamb to create the appearance of a small gap or to block light from coming in and out. And it creates a negative space here for the door to swing into, which allows a tight door gap towards the front. So this one coved door jamb, this one little change, helps us achieve the 3 design criteria that we were looking to solve. So let's walk through the construction process. In the door itself, we have this steel frame, and keep in mind at the bottom of the PDF we have our shop drawings, and if you want to see the PDF, just click the link in our description or in the top comment. And then the steel frame gets clad with these walnut timber stiles on the side, and we have some blocking top and bottom as well to house our pivot hinge. We're using a Fritz Jürgen pivot here. This is that beautiful coved walnut jamb. You can see where the door will occupy that negative space. After that, we've clad the steel frame face with this walnut veneer. Then we apply trims to the door. You can see our lovely Fritz Jürgen box there, and that pivot hinge on the bottom will be mounted in that space. We did a test fit on this mirror that needs to go in there, but that here is the result. We have these doors here and they tie in beautifully with these fixed cupboards that go on the side. We managed to get it done from the time we were engaged to the door delivered on site in 7 weeks. So I think that is a pretty good outcome. The builders installed the doors super quickly and they finished off the pub and it was pumping. It was done. And if you enjoyed our thought process on how we turn this design intent into these beautiful pivot doors, have a look at this video where we go through how we review your architectural drawings and deliver on your intent.